bearing through it with us. We've got a really great panel today. I'm Sam Sussman from Extend. I'm excited to be moderating the panel. This is a collaboration between a number of organizations working on the ground in Israel, Palestine. Let me say a word about Extend, and then I'm going to pass it over. We're all going to.
Okay, great. Thanks so much to everyone who joined today. Sorry for all the technical difficulties and delays.
I'm getting a really bad echo there. Is anyone else getting that? Okay. Great. Okay. Well, let's try to proceed. So I'm Sam Sussman. I run Extend. Extend is an organization which brings young American Jews to Israel, Palestine to center the voices of human rights activists working on the ground against the occupation. I think what all of the organizations here have in common is that at the core of our work is elevating the voices of grassroots activists on the ground, rather than focusing on the sort of several thousand feet off the ground, diplomatic solutions. We're really trying to center the work of people active on the ground. And for Extend, that means bringing people in the American Jewish community who too often haven't met a Palestinian, haven't met an Israeli who's working against the occupation, and really elevating those voices and educating people about what the human rights situation on the ground looks like and why it's so urgent for our community to be part of transforming it. So that's Extend. You can learn more about Extend at extendprograms.org. And with that, let me pass it over to Julie from Solidarity of Nations, Aqua, Tamim.
Thanks so much, Sam. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. Excited to see all these folks on this call. My name is Julie. I'm the outreach coordinator for Solidarity of Nations, Aqua Tamim. Aqua Tamim is a movement building platform based in Jerusalem. We run cohorts of participants where they live communally, learn in a democratic and self-created learning process, as well as work with grassroots Palestinian and Israeli NGOs. And in each of our cohorts, we have participants that are working in the Jordan Valley, that are escorting shepherds. I myself have spent time escorting shepherds in the Jordan Valley. And we are really focusing on bringing people into the movement, helping them do self-transformation, developing their own practice, what they believe, how they talk about things, and then gaining a deeper understanding of how to be in partnership, how to do effective solidarity work, and either continuing to do work in Israel, Palestine, or returning to the US to plug into networks, community justice work there. Yeah, and that's where we are, aquatamim.org. You can find out more. And I will pass it over to Scout.
Hi, all. Glad to be here today. My name is Scout, and I work the Center for Jewish Nonviolence. We are an organization that works with uplifting and strengthening a connected movement of Palestinians, Israelis, and international Jews who are committed to active shared resistance and co-resistance. We've focused on building relationships of solidarity and co-resistance that actively disrupt the ideological systems that uphold the occupation, and specifically have a number of delegations which bring people who are not currently on the ground in Israel, Palestine to do direct action work and co-resistance work with Palestinians and Israelis who are on the ground. This is all an effort to continue to sustain deep relationships that can support cross-movement work and also directly challenge the narratives we get about the divisions across different communities. We've been around for 5 years, and our delegations have grown in size and have worked in a variety of different areas, including in the South Hebron Hills and in East Jerusalem. And if you want to find out more about our work, please visit us at cjnv.org, and I'll also put it in the chat box. Thank you, and I believe I will pass it to Beth.
Hi, my name is Beth Schumann. I work with American Friends of Combatants for Peace. We are the American NGO that is working to support the work of Combatants for Peace on the ground in Israel and Palestine. So I'll talk very briefly about Combatants for Peace and then turn it over. So Combatants for Peace is an organization founded by former fighters on both sides in Israel and Palestine. They are committed today, they put their weapons down, of course, and are committed today to working together for a just and equal future for both sides. So they do a lot of nonviolent civil resistance work, educational work, awareness building, and really trying to build a movement from the grassroots to end the occupation. So on that note, I'm going to turn it back over to Sam. I'm sure Elie and Osama will share more about Combatants for Peace and the work that they're doing on the ground. And we will put in the chat box information about all the NGOs.
Great, wonderful. And I just want to say it's such a pleasure to be working with organizations who, all of our mission is really highlighting the work of Palestinian and Israeli activists on the ground, and as everyone is saying, finding ways for us to be a part of that. So we came together to host this session in which we're going to hear directly from two Combatants for Peace activists. So first, we have Osama, and then we also have Elie. So let me start with Osama. I'm going to ask an opening question here. But just to describe the format, the way this is going to work is I'm going to ask a few questions. We also want your questions. So if you want to ask something, put it in the chat bar. You can just say, I have a question, or you can type the question, whichever is easiest for you. And then I'll say your name. And if you'd like, put on your video or not, and take off your mute and ask the question. So we'll sort of have a mix of my questions and your questions as we go forward. But we want to hear from you. We want to hear about what is on your mind. Let's start with this, Osama. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to this point as an activist?
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everybody. First of all, I want to say I'm grateful for the organizers of this event, actually, because it's important for me and it gives me a little bit of hope, to be honest, that there is people in this world really aware about what's going on here and the situation around here, and we are not alone in this battle, let's say. So my name is Osama Iliwat. I'm based in Jerico in Jordan Valley. I'm originally from Jerusalem. I grew up as normal, typical Palestinian who did not know anything about Israelis more than full armed soldiers hanging out or running out around between our schools and our houses, arresting people, shooting at people, tear gas, all these things. I grew up with this idea. When I was 18 years old, I joined the Palestinian police at the beginning of Oslo because I wanted to be strong like the soldiers, and I want to have weapon, and I thought by this I can protect myself and the people around me. After 2 years, one of my friends get killed by the Israelis, and I was mad at the BA actually. And I wanted to keep resisting. 2010, I went with one of my friends to a big meeting for peace activists, and I did not know that the peace activists are Israelis. And I was surprised to see people wearing yarmulkes over there, and I went back mad at my friend. But I heard some things that kept me thinking, like how come they could be with kippah, with yarmulke, they could be Israelis, they could be Jews, and still call themselves peace activists. And I was really curious, and I went to more and more meetings, and there I started to see the other face of the Israeli people, the face they never allow me to see, they never give me opportunity as a Palestinian to see. And I find partners on the other side. And I believe that I can make a change with my partners because it's our life. We both have to work for it. We both have to fix it to make it better for ourselves, for our kids and a new generation in the futures. And it's our responsibility at the first step, and then the whole international community responsibility on the second step. So I'm board member in Combatants for Peace, and I live here in Jordan Valley. And
Thanks, Osama.
Thank you.
Thanks, Osama. And we're going to get into it in a moment, but Jericho, where Osama is talking to us from, is right at the center of the area that's going to be annexed. So we're going to talk about that in a moment, but I want to bring in Elie here. Can you tell us, what was your journey? Combatants for Peace is so much about, as Beth was saying, as Osama was saying, people's individual journeys from violence to activism and nonviolence. Elie, what was your journey?
Okay, first, great to be with you people, and it's great to know that some people are interested to hear the story, and I hope spread the story, because that's very, very important. And so I grew up in Haifa and went to school in Haifa, high school, and I joined the army. And in fact, I was in the infantry. I was fighting during the Yom Kippur War. In '73, I fought in the Golan Heights, and then in the Hermon Mountain, a major battle. And I saw what it meant to be in a battle. And many, many people died around me, both Syrian and Israelis. And I must say that I never hated the enemy, never hated the enemy. I felt that I was doing what I was supposed to do to protect my family, my country. And then I left Israel. I went to North America, like for 20 years. I was in Canada and the US, and came back because I really felt very connected to, my history is that my grandparents came from Russia like 115 years ago to Israel, and were what the Israelis call the Chalutzim, the earlier settlers. And I really felt connected and always wanted to come back, never felt at home away. So I came back, and then somebody told me about this ceremony, the Israeli-Palestinian Memorial Day ceremony, where we do a ceremony as a memorial for the bereaved families on both sides of Israelis and Palestinians. And it's done, and on purpose, on the same day of the Memorial Day of the Israeli soldiers. And just with the idea of breaking the cycle of people going to cemeteries and just feeling, all those that fell heroes, we should follow their path. And here we have enemies and we have to protect ourselves. It's just an endless cycle with endless wars. So I went to see with my family, my wife, and you just see people that in spite of the pain of losing dear ones in their family, they are brave enough to look for the future, for hope, rather to look back and hate. And you just sit in this ceremony and like cry for an hour and a half or something like that. And after two of those, I said to myself, okay, Elie, what are you doing now? And I just joined the Combatants for Peace that is organizing with the Forum of Bereaved Families. Joined Combatants, and since it's like five years that I'm active, now I coordinate the center group, the Israeli group. And then I must say that as you take part in the activities, and I'm very active, I spend all my extra time, free time and more, with combatants, getting to know the Palestinians, getting a lot in the going around in the West Bank. And the more you face what is happening there, the more outraged you get, and the more you are ready to do things that you never thought you'll be ready to do. So I'll end with that. And
I'm proud to be your partner, Elie.
Same here.
Elie, Osama, thanks so much for sharing your personal journeys to this moment. And we find ourselves collectively now at, I think, this very troubling moment with annexation seeming to come very quickly. Everyone I'm talking to these days about Israel-Palestine says annexation, annexation, annexation. But I think it's one of these words where there's not actually a lot of explanation of what it means and what its implications are. Let's start with Osama, because you're right in the middle of it in Jericho. What does annexation mean to you?
Oh, I think you asked the right person what is annexation, because I will be in the middle of the annexation and I will not be annexed to, even they don't accept me to be annexed. So annexation for me is to living in a prison surrounded by Israel from everywhere, from four sides. And maybe I need permission just to go out of Jericho and to come in. I don't know exactly how the situation will be, but if you look at the map and if you put it on the screen there and see Jericho, it's going to be a small island in the middle of this annexed lands, which will be called Israel. And for me, it's like taking all the hope I was dreaming. You know, I was dreaming about peace. I was dreaming about having freedom of movement. I was dreaming about having a free exit and entrance to my country, to my homeland. It's all gonna be destroyed with this annexation because it's something like killing the option of having a state in any future, you know, because Jordan Valley is the only borders with another country for the Palestinians. We are surrounded by Israel from the north, from the east, from the west, from the north, from the west, from the south. So the east is the only place where we can have borders with another country, where we can move freely out and in Palestine, the Palestinian state, and where we like can just feel that we are a state. We have borders with another country and not surrounded by Israel all the way. The other thing is the movement. I move around West Bank. I'm not allowed to go to Israel. I'm not allowed to go anywhere. I'm moving around Jericho. This is my freedom. This is my space. They are taking all this space from me. And if you want to add to this, it's third of West Bank. Jordan Valley is third of West Bank. Jordan Valley is the only borders with another country again. Jordan Valley is the richest place with underground water. Jordan Valley is the biggest agricultural land in West Bank. So if you look at the map here and make it bigger, I can see someone putting a map here, but it's not on live. So if you look at the blue thing, the dark blue, it's Jordan Valley. And the yellow thing is the Palestinian territories. So you can see Jericho in the middle of the blue thing. Down there, it's the small, it's the small spot here in the middle. This is Jericho. So as you see, I will be surrounded. And Jericho, people have to know that it's the only exit and entrance for Palestinian people to all around the world. So what they're asking us officially is to give third of our of West Bank, and another third, as you see, it's light blue, it's Area C. So 2/3 already under Israeli control, and it's all the highways and all the ways between the cities. And it's the place where, you know, it's the place where people can go out. Like if I want to go out, as you see, this is all the yellow areas. It's inside already. If you annex Jordan Valley, it's going to be inside Israel. So if any Palestinian want to move either out of his city or out of the country, he should be controlled by Israel. And for me, this is like the end of the peace process.
Thanks, Osama. I want to come back and ask you more about the Jordan Valley, but let's go to Elie. So Osama gave us, I think, a very powerful overview of what annexation means for him as a Palestinian living in the area that Israel is going to annex. Elie, as an Israeli, what does annexation mean to you?
Can you put back the map back?
Yeah, here we go.
Thanks. Look at this. This is I mean, if it wasn't sad, it was a joke, I would be laughing. This is a state. What is it? Look at do you see this, my mouse?
Yeah, we can see your mouse.
Like the yellow parts are the areas A and B of where they are controlled by the Palestinians and where the most Palestinians live. In this area, in Area C, in all of Area C, which is the blue one, there are like 60,000, I think 60,000, one number, okay? Palestinians live. Now, see how it's dividing this crazy map. It's dividing Palestine. You see, today I was driving on this road. Yeah? So there's no connection between the north of Palestine and the south of Palestine. It's broken up in so many ways, in so many, I mean, and I think they have an idea of connecting the north to the south with a tunnel or something ridiculous like that. I mean, this is like Bhutan or, you know, all these states, pseudo-states that were in South Africa. This is not a way to allow the other people, the Palestinians, to have a state. This is a joke. What is this, Jericho? I mean, what is it? What kind of a proposal is this? This is unreal. So, and for me as an Israeli, and I'll tell you, I care for Israel. I care for Israel. I love Israel. And I say, for me, without independence for Palestine, Israel is not independent. That's it. It's 70-something years old, still not independent, because we have a partner, a neighbor that is not independent. And we are occupiers. And what does annexation mean? Like, the situation is horrible. It's a disaster as it is now. It's a disaster without annexation. If we do the annexation, it's like to put the final stamp on it and make it permanent. What does it mean? If before we had the border, like here, this is the border, like here, this side on the west side is Israel, and this is Palestine. This would be the border, okay? Now, I mean, go and count the number of mileage that you have border here. It's endless. Who will protect it? Thousands and thousands of soldiers that are doing ridiculous job. You send kids of 18 years old to do a job. What this is, you're not protecting your country. You're suppressing people. This is not protecting people. I mean, Israel is so strong. Nobody can do anything to Israel except terrorize it. And that's what will happen. Tons of kids will go to the army. We'll have to maintain a huge army, tons of money. People will lose their lives left and right. And then, I mean, talk about civil rights. What about this? It's an apartheid situation, because in this area where it's blue, it's Israeli rule, while it has 60,000 Palestinians living there. So they have their rules, maybe the Jordanian old rule, or the army military rule, even worse. And next door to them are Israelis, which live by the Israeli rules. And the roads that the Palestinians cannot get on, only Israelis get on them. So just more of that. And what about the cost? So we said the cost of life. And what about the money that we'll have to spend, pay taxes to maintain all these things? Now, and now with the corona, we have thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people losing their jobs. We're going to spend money on just sending more and more money, make more roads, more security. It's endless. This is so ridiculous. I'll tell you, people will go to the extreme to try to stop this thing.
So Elie, let me take what you're describing in terms of the human cost and ask about that. Osama, can you tell us who lives in the Jordan Valley? You know, as we know, obviously Palestine is not homogenous. What sort of communities do we have in the Jordan Valley, and how will they be impacted by annexation?
Yeah, thank you. So Jordan Valley, Jordan Valley is from like Beit Shan checkpoint. It's all the borders from Jordan, from Beit Shan checkpoint all the way to En Gedi, this is the Palestinian side of it, and the rest is Tiberia and next to the Dead Sea all the way, it's on the Israeli side. We are talking about annexation of the Palestinian side, of the side in West Bank. In this place, there is around 60,000 people living there and 7,000 settlers. 7,000 settlers with the Israeli army are controlling 84% of the land. under many excuses. It's an army zone, it's a training zone, it's a settlement zone, it's a security zone, it's all these kind of zones, and border zone, and all these kinds of things. So 84% of Jordan Valley lands are under full Israeli control, and 80% of the water is under full Israeli control, because Jericho is the only area A in this whole region, as you saw over there. For this Palestinians, since 67, the whole Jordan Valley area is on process, continuing process, transfer process. Since then, they did not allow people to build freely. They allow them to build in certain points, like, you know, where like a big village or small village, they allow them to build in area A, and if they go one step out of area C, A or B, they demolish their homes, even though they own the land. And area C in Jordan Valley, it's more than 70% of Jordan Valley is area C. So Palestinians are not allowed to live in 70% of these areas. And the population is growing and growing, and we still have the same land. So now we are building anywhere. The price of the lands went very high because we are not allowed to build. What is the annexation gives to these people? Since then, Israel building settlements. There is 36 settlements and 15 illegal outposts according to the Israeli law. What is the difference between the outpost and the settlement is illegal according to the international law, and outpost is illegal according to the international law and the Israeli law. And all these outposts, they never been removed. They all have services: water, electricity, soldiers protecting them, and public transportation. Even Aged buses goes all the way to these settlements, and the price for the settlers is always less than the normal Israelis, even in the public transportation, to challenge them to go and move to the settlements. So the number of the Palestinians is going smaller, and the number of the Israelis is growing. Since then, Israel used this system, and now they are going with this annexation. It actually will legalize this system. That's the whole thing. You are giving the settlers, if Jordan Valley became part of Israel, you are giving the settlers the right to live in it, because it's gonna be part of State of Israel. So it's not settlements anymore. So it is legal. All the Israeli settlements and the outposts will be legal. Who's gonna be illegal there? The Palestinians, because they are not Israeli citizens. So Israel will keep them under military rules with a lot of like borders or limited, or they're gonna give them, which I don't think they're gonna give them, they're gonna give them residency. But this residency is even, it will not solve the thing, because even with residency, it will stay apartheid system. Look at Jerusalem. It's annexed since 52 years. What is happening in Jerusalem now? The Palestinians have no rights. The Israelis have more rights. It's difficult. Like for me as Palestinian, I can't keep giving always from my share to make this peace happening. Like as a Palestinian who used to dream when he was a kid about my homeland, Palestine, from the river to the sea and everything, I accepted. I was forced by the whole world to accept this peace agreement. And I said, it's enough. Give me 22% of my what I was dreaming, and I will live in this place with a state where I can be free to go to Jordan, to go back, to move, to build, to raise my children here. And I feel like I always, every few years, I have to keep negotiate about my part. And that gives me, like, I feel disappointed from this. I feel disappointed from the international community. I don't know where. This is illegal. This is illegal according to the international law. No matter what Trump says and what others says, but according to the international community, the settlements and the occupation and the outposts and the annexation is illegal because it's unoccupied lands. And I always have to pay this price. And if I am not willing to pay this price, I will be called the one who refused the peace. No, you can't keep negotiating with someone who says what mine is mine and what yours is negotiable. People in Jordan Valley will be transferred soon if Israel annexes Jordan Valley. 60,000 people will be 20,000 people in a few days or a few years, and they still have no rights. Even now, Israel is controlling Jordan Valley since 52 years. The Palestinians in Jordan Valley don't get anything from Israeli government. Zero rights, zero services, nothing. They all come to the Palestinian Authority and take everything they want from the Palestinian Authority. And for me, this is an apartheid system. When people lives on the same place, 5 meters away from each other, the settlement is very close to the Palestinian village. And these people living under military rules, and these people have full rights as citizens of the state. This is what's called apartheid. Either you accept it or you don't.
Osama, thanks for that overview. Elie, you mentioned driving today on these roads through the West Bank, and we were talking about it a little bit before the call kicked off. Can you tell us on this same question of how annexation will affect the communities in the annexed territory? Can you tell us what you saw today, what sort of communities you observed, and how they'll be affected by annexation?
I went to visit two types of communities. One is of Bedouins, and the other one of Falahim, of farmers, Palestinian farmers. The thing is that, as I was saying, that life is harsh. It's very hard. It's very hard. The Bedouins, all they have is their sheep and goat. And all they do, getting up early in the morning, walk around, and what we did, like joining them, walking with them, with their herds. And while before they used to go 5 miles away from home, they could do a tour of 5 miles away from home to graze the sheep and the goats. Today, the settlers stop them, and the army stops them with the backing of the settlers, and they can walk only like 1 mile away. So there's no food for the goats. There's nothing for the sheep. So basically, the economy is destroyed. That's what is happening. And while now this is done as in an occupied area, which is, for us, why are we so upset? This is a war crime. This is a war crime as far as we are concerned. Now the country is going to be, the area is going to be annexed. So this is like the state can decide any rule they want. They'll move people. This is not a war crime anymore. You understand? So, and they are in complete, they have no idea if what's going to come. All of a sudden, well now, if they had a piece of land that was written in all the regulations, it's theirs, a piece of property, and the Israelis come and put a settlement near it. Like that's like what I saw the other day, like a week ago, and today I went to visit it again. The Palestinians we visited a person that has a olive grove. The Israelis some years back put a settlement, just buy it. So now they are bordering each other. And the Israelis, like Israelis, they always want to have a security zone around every settlement of theirs. So they don't let them grow things there. And the guy planted 200 trees. And we came there and we saw the bagger, we saw the tractor that was uprooting 200 trees off the land. 200 trees off the land. I mean, you're going berserk. This is like your people are doing such things. Now we're trying to help them. And if this is going to be annexed, the area is going to be annexed, this will be all done legally. They'll declare something. This is not a occupied area anymore. Through all the authorities, they get all the licenses, take the land, annex it to make it part of the settlements, make the settlements grow, and the Palestinians will just have to move. Basically, what they are looking for is to throw the people back to the cities.
Elie, thanks so much for that overview. And I want to ask a follow-up question that we're getting from the audience. And I'll just reiterate that your questions are very, very welcome. So if you want to type them into the chat, if you don't want everyone to see your question, which is fine, you can just type it directly to myself, or you can type it for everyone to see, whatever you're most comfortable with. Elie, we're getting a question that asks, how is this legal? How is this possible? Is this just force, or does the Israeli government think there's some framework within which this is legal?
Can I share a screen?
Yeah.
You see this water hole, this thing for the ship? This is like 300 yards or just by the community, the Bedouin community. The Bedouins cannot use this water. Here, you see this one? This is of the farmers. We came before the winter. You see this canal? All the water, all the rain comes from the side of the hill, and we dug a canal so the water of the rain will go into the water hole. Okay? If the Palestinian will bring a tractor to dig it, it will be confiscated on the spot, because this is Area C. Israel controls everything there, security and administration-wise. So we came with shovels and dug this thing. Now it's dry. This is good for half a week, half a month, water for his sheep, for the herd. The guy has no water. He has to buy it. He has to buy water because he's not allowed to dig water holes. I told you about the trees. You see this area? 200 trees. See the settlement? There were 200 trees, 10 acres. There was a tractor here, came by night when the Palestinians were during the Eid, the most important holiday. They were at home after a month of fast. These criminals came with their tractor, dug all this place. You see the water for the trees. Look at this tree. This is a Keren Kayemet Israel. So you see, that's what we see every day. And now, if it will be annexed, this will be done, by paperwork. Or here's another one. Here's another piece of paper. Oh, no, that's something else. But here, look at this thing. I showed you this village. You see the village? This is the village of Rashash. Okay, you see the Bedouins, the small hats, all these things. You see the gorgeous Israeli settlement. You know how much money was put into this thing to be green? These guys live on nothing. They used to live at the bottom of the hill. Like in the winter, they'll be at the bottom of the hill. In the summer, they'll go up, probably to be protected from the rain and wind. Now the army told them no. The Israeli administration told them no. You don't go down the wadi. You're only here. Now this piece of paper is a declaration. You build four new tents. This is a declaration we're going to, in 3 weeks, they're going to demolish these 4 tents. That's the life they live there.
I want just to make it clear a little bit when we talk about the water and the stuff. I want to mention that 50% of the people living in Jordan Valley are Bedouin communities. And since some of them are living in these communities, in these camps for 40 years and more, and some of them are refugees from Beersheba. Bedouins came from Beersheba, so they were refugees before They were living in their lands and they came as refugees here, and they are living on other people's lands now. They are rented. None of these people have any access to water or electricity. You have to understand, imagine yourself living in Jordan Valley, 50 degrees, which is 130 Fahrenheit, in this hot place without access to water, without access to electricity. You can't turn air conditions on, you can't have enough water. So all of them, they have tractors and big tanks. They have to drive it all the way to the main cities to fill it, and it costs them triple price. And the settlements next to them, which was built either 10 or 20 years ago, they have everything. They have streets, they have water, they have electricity and agricultural lands. Imagine yourself, I will just describe to you a little bit about life in Jordan Valley. Imagine you are sleeping with your kids in your small, hot plastic tent in Jordan Valley, and the army come to you in the middle of the night and ask you all to leave because the army have training, they are practicing today. So you have to leave, and they don't let you know how long it will take, 1 day or 3 days. Yeah, so most of these people have to leave their houses and go out to the mountains or to the caves and watch the Israeli tanks running over their belongings, shooting at each other because they're having training there, because it's a border zone according to them. Imagine your life, your kids don't have enough water, they don't have streets, they don't have playgrounds, they don't have schools. Even the schools they don't have. The kids have to travel something like 10 kilometers every day in the morning to the closest village in order to go to their classes every single day. Just a week ago, Israel, when they were doing training, they burned 9,000 dunams, like 9,000 dunams of land of wheat. They burned it, and people, you know, they grow this the whole winter in order to feed their animals and to make bread during this period, during the summer. They burned it all. People are living there in situation, they have no rights to do anything. They come and destroy their tents every few months. They all have demolishing orders. All the Palestinians there have demolishing orders. They hire Israeli lawyers since ages, like Shlomo Leker, for example, one of the lawyers, just to survive in their tents. How you want these people to imagine a future with this situation? And then they complain that Palestinians refusing, Palestinians are terrorists, they resist. Anyone will resist if you put him in this situation. I'm not against countries here, I'm not against religions. I don't care who's doing this to me. Anyone will do this to me, I will go and resist against him. Even if he's the father of Islam or Christianity or Judaism or whatever, or a Palestinian or an Arab. That's the problem. People think that we are doing this because we have a problem with Israel because they are Jews. This is not the problem. The problem is we are fighting here for equal rights, for human rights, just to live as a human being. We want to raise our children in normal place where they can get easy education, where they can live normal life, where the kids can play normal like everyone. We don't want our kids to grow up on fears from the settlers and the army, and these fears turn into hate after this, and then they attack and they could be called terrorists. The terrorists are the people who are costing these people these things. Thank you.
So let me ask each of you, we're winding down here, but I want everyone to hear a little bit about how a resistance to annexation is playing out both within the Palestinian and Israeli community. Can you each talk? Maybe we'll begin with Elie and then go to Osama. How are Israelis who object to annexation resisting? And then Osama, the same question for Palestinians.
I tell you, I mean, it's really hard because the Israeli public is moved to the right, and in the politics situation is disaster. One thing, I don't know if you heard about this demonstration that was like last Saturday in Tel Aviv. In Tel Aviv, I mean, we feel that we have to go into extremes, really extremes. Like nothing will stop us from no rule of law, no corona, or what do you call it, the 19. no guidelines about you shouldn't touch, you shouldn't get together, no mass gathering. We'll do everything that is needed. I mean, to try to stop it. And it's in the planning. It's in the planning now. As we're talking, many peace movements in Israel are trying to work together, to make coalitions, to come up with ideas of how to put the pressure, And I must say that a lot has to do with the pressure from the outside. The political situation in Israel is like 50-50, and it's impossible. And as it is now, the Bibi has the upper hand, and the left and the peace looking for people or movements are the minority. So we really depend on pressure from the outside. I mean, he put all his hope. Bibi is putting all his hope on Trump, and this is the situation that they are just yearning for, to use the support from, like, only the support from the US. So we're trying our best, and this effort that we're doing today is to try to get the American community as well to put pressure on your senators, on your people in the House of Representatives, to fight these ideas of the support from the US. And the same thing we do. We sent letters to all the members of parliament in Israel, to the Knesset members, each person, personal letters, letting them know, if you vote for this annexation, you take part in a war crime. You will not be able to fly to Europe for your vacation. You will not be able to have a bank account in Hawaii. This is a war crime. The German foreign minister is coming tomorrow to Israel, I think hopefully to put pressure as well. We'll deliver a letter from the peace movements to encourage him to put the pressure on Israel, because the pressure from outside is very important. Israel depends on the outside. And at the same time, we'll do lots of things. And I'm telling you, people by now are so desperate, going to jail is nothing.
Thanks, Elie. Let me ask Osama the same question. How are Palestinians resisting annexation?
So I just, Elie mentioned the Corona and COVID-19, and I want to just mention here that during this lockdown, the settlers worked very hard with the Israeli government in Jordan Valley, because while people were in their houses, they did everything possible they could not do recently in the last 10 years, for example. So they opened new streets, they dig new tunnels around the settlements, they took more land, they dig water lines, and they planted trees in the places where they were not allowed to go to, especially in the outposts, Chavat Omar and Nevot Jericho. And that's important to mention because they used the Corona and the lockdown to create more facts on the ground. For us, the resistance, for me at least, I believe in peaceful resistance. I believe in resistance with my partners. I believe if we don't resist, Israelis and Palestinians together against this, we are endangering our kids' future. We are endangering our dreams. We are endangering our solutions. As a Palestinian, I will refuse to live in island in the middle of Israel. I will refuse to live in a state that doesn't have agricultural land, doesn't have enough water, doesn't have equality, doesn't have justice, doesn't have freedom of movement. For us, we're gonna resist all ways possible, all peaceful ways possible to prevent this from happening. And I don't think it's enough from us only to resist from one side. We need the international community. We need the international community who just, agreed with us and believed in us and believed and support us in this revolution against the discrimination and the occupation here. We need all your support in your parliament, in your countries to stand for this, because what's going on here is illegal, guys. Forget if it's against Palestinians or Israelis or whatever. Israel is passing all the international community red lines. To be honest, they are doing everything against the international community law, and no one is moving against this. I will keep resisting. I will never stop resisting, either about Jordan Valley or South Hebron Hills. It's the same for me. What's going on here now, they are paying attention on one place, like now the whole international community and the peace activism are paying attention on Jordan Valley, and at the same time they are building in South Hebron. When we were doing everything in Susia, they were building in Jordan Valley. So they are smart. They are using the places. They are taking our attention to Khan al-Ahmar, and then they continue doing things in Jordan Valley. So actually, it's planned. Actually, I think this resistance this time, it will be with the Palestinian Authority and the peace activists and the Israelis and the Palestinians, same like Khan al-Ahmar. And I believe we're gonna make change. I believe we will stop this war crime of happening, and I believe if it happened, it's gonna be a disaster for the peace process and for the Palestinian people who are living there, and for our dream to live in peace in the future.
Thank you, Osama. Okay, we're gonna head towards wrapping up. I want to say a few things. One is that for those writing in about making this available, this recording will be available. We'll send it to you afterwards. Please feel free to share it with whomever you would like. I also just really want to emphasize what both Elie and Osama are saying, which is the importance of advocacy by those of us outside Israel, Palestine. And I think something that binds together the four organizations who are sponsoring this event is that we all care deeply about those connections between those working on the ground in Israel, Palestine, and our communities outside who care deeply. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Beth to close things out. I appreciate everyone coming together for the call. Thank you for joining today. You'll get more information in a follow-up email, and I'm going to pass it to Beth from Combatants for Peace to close things out.
Hi, everybody. Thank you again so much for joining us today. We're so grateful to have you with us. Please do, as Sam mentioned, this is being recorded, so it'll be on YouTube. We'll send you the link. Please do share. Combatants for Peace is going to be doing several more of these. We're going to have one on the 14th of June, one on the 15th of June, and one on the 23rd of June. So please sign up with us so that you can get those links and we can share those links, because we want to bring this from 50 people to 500 people to 5,000 people to 500,000 people. If we're going to stop the annexation, we're going to need everybody, and we're going to need your help. So what are some ways that you can help? There are 4 organizations who are co-sponsoring the call today. Extend, which is Sam, who is our wonderful moderator. Thank you, Sam. Aqua, Tamim, Center for Jewish Nonviolence, and Combatants for Peace. We'll send you an email with links for more information about those. Of course, all of us are in need of donations and funds. So if you can contribute in that way, we would be most grateful. And again, pass the word. We're having a campaign about the annexation with Combatants for Peace. So if you're interested in being part of our campaign, getting more materials that you can share, send out, broadcast, share with your congresspeople, please be in touch, and I'll be in touch with you as well. So thank you so much to everyone who's joined us today.
Thank you for having us and for coming, and hopefully, this gives me hope. Thank you for recharging me again to keep continuing this way. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming and listening, and it's nice to know that there's backing out there. People listen, and hopefully you'll tell a story and put the pressure. We need the pressure from all directions. Thank you.
Happy week. Bye-bye.